Hey, what's up you guys? You're watching Team APS, Paul here. In today's video, I'm going to be giving a deck profile of the new Dark Magician deck with Dark Magician the Dragon Knight, which just released in Legendary Dragon decks, a product that is well worth it. I highly suggest you pick it up. We opened it the other day in a video, so definitely check that out if you haven't already. Yes, Dark Magician. It is now kind of budget, very affordable, and I would actually say kind of viable, but we'll talk about that more in the video. This deck is pretty fun to play. I've actually used it for a long time. If you've been watching this channel, you'll probably know that. So this is all just kind of treading familiar territory to me, but this is for anybody who's just getting into the deck and wants to learn it. So I think this is one of the better ways to play the deck now. It has kind of everything it needs. So first and foremost, we've got... Just kidding. We've got Dark Magician. So Dark Magician is the namesake of the deck. You just run 3 because this deck is all about summoning him, resummoning him, resummoning him, resummoning him, and yeah, all of that. Searching him, recycling him, all that different type of stuff. So not much more to say about it. Then we've got the Apprentice girl. Apprentice Illusion Magician I actually have shown in Jump versions, so no, but yeah, this card is really good. You can discard a card from your hand and special summon her, and then when you do, you're able to search a Dark Magician to your hand. And in addition to that, she actually acts as sort of like a an Honest or a Bujin Crane or whatever you would like to call it. When one of your Dark Magicians or any Dark Spellcaster is battling, you can discard her or send her from the field of the grave, and the monster gains 2,000 attack. So this actually is great for getting over even those like big 4,000 level threats. And that's really all that she's kind of there for. I mean, if you summon 2 of them, you can make like some rank 6 Xyz and stuff like that, but she generally isn't all that compatible with a lot of the other support in the deck, which is a bit unfortunate. And maybe if we get Magician one of these days, she'll have even more use, but that's neither here nor there. So, double Magician of Dark Illusion. In old versions of this deck, like it might have been worth running 3 of this, but definitely not anymore. He's really easy to summon. You just, whenever you use a spell or a trap in your opponent's turn, you get to summon him from your hand. And then once while he's face up, whenever you use a spell or trap, you get, or effect, you get to summon basically a Dark Magician from your grave. So it's pretty handy, and he's level 7 and he's considered Dark Magician. So when he gets special summon, he'll trigger cards like Dark Magic Circle and all of that. You can use him to make Xyz summons. You can kind of wall out with him. He's got pretty decent defense. So yeah, there's him, and then triple Magician's Rod. So Magician's Rod is your pretty much primary normal summon. You use it, you can search Dark Magic Circle or Eternal Soul or Navigation, or at least those are the ones you'll generally be searching. That's about it, but when it's in the grave, if you activate spell and trap effects, you can tribute a Magician or a Spellcaster and bring it back to your hand and resummon it. Although you won't actually need to do that more than about once per game, at least in my experience. So that's all there's to say about him. Now, I've also got the Spellbook engine in this deck, so that involves 2 Spellbook Magician of Prophecy. The reason why I do this is mostly because Dark Magician doesn't really have very many normal summons. Like, Magician's Rod is the only other normal summon in this deck, but this deck doesn't do all that well with Card of Demise either, so I was like, well, how can I kind of fill that gap? And so that's where Spellbook Magician of Prophecy came in. I'll explain the Spellbook engine a little bit later, so I'm just going to have to remember to... I'll set him right over there, and I'll bring him back out. And then we've got Maxx. It's just the most useful hand trap right now for stopping the majority of the threats in the game. When spirals come out, this will be especially handy, so... yeah, have it. For spells, Dark Magical Circle. When you activate this, you get to look at the top 3 cards of your deck, and if you see a Dark Magician or a spell or trap that mentions Dark Magician, except for Eye of Timaeus for some dumb reason, you can add that card from your deck to your hand, and then put the rest on top of your deck in whatever order you want. So that can be pretty handy. But the more important thing here is whenever you summon a Dark Magician to the field, you're able to banish one of your opponent's cards. So that's regular Dark Magician, but it's also Dark Magician of Dark Illusion and the new Fusion, which we're going to get to in a bit. But yeah, anytime those are summoned, you're able to banish cards. So this can kind of create this little sort of cycle of banishing on your opponent's turn, then on your turn, your opponent's turn, on your turn, because of things like Magician's Navigation and Eternal Soul. So it can make this extremely disruptive. Then we have some other spells. Illusion Magic, you contribute off a Spellbook Magician of Prophecy or Magician's Rod and get 2 Dark Magicians, or recycle 2 Dark Magicians. Inheritance, you just banish 2 spells from your grave and get a Dark Magician spell or trap, usually this or Eternal Soul. And Dark Magic Attack, because, you know, it wouldn't be Dark Magicians if you weren't running the themed attack card. I'm actually glad that this is the only legacy monster that seems to actually have a playable spell support for it, like its attack. So this is a Harpy's Feather Duster, and you can search it with Eternal Soul. And then finally, 2 Eye of Timaeus. I wanted to use 2 ultra rare copies, but the mailman failed me today. So yeah, anyway, Eye of Timaeus, it lets you instantly summon any fusion monster that would use a Dark Magician. So namely, this guy, but you can also summon Dark Paladin and some other things. So yeah, these, unfortunately, Eye of Timaeus is not searchable by Dark Magical Circle or Magician's Rod. Don't ask me why. I hate that ruling, but it is how it is. If this card was searchable, this deck would be really, really good, but it's not. So anyway, so here's the spellbook engine I was talking about. We have 2 Spellbook of Secrets and 2 Spellbook of Knowledge. So if you're unfamiliar with this engine, the basic idea here is that Spellbook of Secrets can search Spellbook Magician of Prophecy, but also Spellbook Magician of Prophecy can search Spellbook of Secrets. So whichever one of these that you see first, you use it, search the other, and then use the other to search Spellbook of Knowledge. You'll use Knowledge to send your Magician and draw 2 cards. Thins your deck out a whole lot, and it's just a lot of free draw power. In addition to that, Spellbook of Knowledge can actually be used with any spellcaster monster you have. So, your Rods or Dark Magicians, because you'll just be able to get it back with Eternal Soul. Makes this really good draw power for the deck. So, it's an engine worth investigating, I would say. And then we've also got 2 Pot of Desires, the Great Divider. But I do like this card. This deck runs lots of multiples, so you don't usually end up losing anything very important here. And with Dark Magician, sometimes it can be a bit bricky, so you really want to see your strongest card as early as you can. And that's what this is here for. Then we've got Raigeki and 2 Cosmic Cyclones as removal, because this deck can't really support Twin Twisters most of the time, I'd say. So this is the next best thing. And finally, the trap cards. Triple Navigation. I'm so glad this card is actually cheap now, so people can actually play it. But yeah, this lets you summon one of your Dark Magicians from your hand. That's why it's so important to get that draw power and illusion magics and all that stuff. Apprentice Illusion Girl. And then you also get to summon a Dark Spellcaster from your deck. So you could summon a second Dark Magician or Illusion one or anything like that. So very cool. The next thing that this thing does is when it's in your grave, while you have a Dark Magician on the field, you can actually banish it from your graveyard and negate a spell. This is extremely useful for stopping things like Twin Twisters that would get in your way. It can also stop, any other disruptive spell or just whatever your opponent might need to kind of get their strategy moving. One of their draw cards or terraforming or Pot of Desires even. So this is something that you actually, if you're playing against a Dark Magician deck, you'll want to be very aware of, because when you combine it with Eternal Soul and with the new Fusion monster, it can lock your opponent out really well. Then we have Eternal Soul. This brings it all together. You get to summon a Dark Magician from your hand or your graveyard once per turn, which is very good. And also all of your Dark Magician cards are unaffected by your opponent's card effects. So, no more Raigekis, no more forbidden whatever's, no more, and it's all of that. It's completely gone. And you can also search Dark Magic Attack with this, so that's a handy thing. The thing is, though, when this card gets destroyed, all the monsters on your side of the field also go with it. But thanks to the new Fusion monster, it's pretty much safe from that. So yeah, and you'll, like I said, want to use some navigation as well to protect it. So yeah, but Eternal Soul, you want to see this fast. You want this to be out as often as possible. You want this to be out alongside Magical Circle so that you're banishing each time you summon those Dark Magicians. Just the linchpin. And finally, got a little Solemn Brigade going here. Nothing special. These are just cards to stop your opponent. So, the extra deck. Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight, which you should be running 2 copies of. I'm not even going to show this out of shame. No, this is Amulet Dragon, but you don't really want to run Amulet Dragon. You want to run 2 copies of this guy. I just wasn't able to get my second copy in time for doing the profile, but yeah, this thing's effect is actually super simple. It becomes Dark Magician while it's on the field or in the graveyard, so it makes it compatible with Eternal Soul. You can always bring it back and stuff. And while it's in the field, your opponent can't target your spells or traps with card effects, and they can't be destroyed by card effects. So effectively, if you have this out, it's going to be protecting your Eternal Soul so that it can't actually die, which means that you're not at risk of losing your whole field. And in addition to that, if you have it out and let's say, Dark Magical Circle, then things get really, really scary for the opponent, because it's they can't deal with these, they can't deal with this, because Eternal Soul is protecting this guy from card effects. So it just gets wild and insane, and it's really, really fun. So run 2 of them. Don't run Amulet Dragon. That's just my bad for this deck profile. And then also we've got Dark Paladin, which you can summon with Eye of Timaeus as well. It's not particularly good, but if you happen to face a random dragon deck, then it can get really big, and it can negate spells, so maybe there's some niche purpose there, although Dark Magician doesn't always keep a lot of cards in hand to be discarding. This would be great if its name was considered Dark Magician. That's all I'll say about that. If it could be resummoned back, that would be quite good. Xyz that we barely use. Ebon Illusion Magician. Not a bad card. It can summon Dark Magicians like from your deck, and then whenever your normal monsters attack, you get to banish a card, so it's pretty useful. Ebon High Magician also lets you use spell and trap cards from your hand, which is neat. You just detach from him, and then when he dies, you can pop a card. These would all be fun and fine if their names were considered Dark Magician, like the Fusion, but they're not, so like, they're okay. Got some rank 3s, Ghost Trick Alucard, and where are my other rank 3s? Dante, Breaksword. You'll likely never see these, but they're there in case you do. Rod's level 3, so why not have them in? Some more rank 7s, Red Eye's Flare Metal, and Big Eye. Big Eye's actually a dark spellcaster, so it does get some protection. Like it can be, you can power it up with Apprentice Illusion Magician, for example. So not the worst thing. And Red Eye's Flare Metal, you can like lock your opponent down if they're low in life points. Then we have Norito, the Moral Leader. You can actually make it with your Apprentice Illusion Magicians. And some other rank 6s, Gauntlet Launcher, Utopia Beyond. And the last card, I actually couldn't think of anything to put in here, so Run a Link Spider. I don't know. Anyway, so that's the deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Dark Magician is, like I said at the start, a deck that's pretty affordable now, and it's well worth it. You can get everything for pretty cheap, and it's pretty fun, so give it a try if you haven't already. Alright, so hope you guys enjoyed the profile. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Leave me some feedback in the comments. And remember to check out the giveaways I'm doing, the Circuit Break booster box. Information about that will be in the video description. Meet us at YCS Dallas if you're going to be there. We'll also be. It'll be pretty fun. I might bring this deck and duel some people with it. And speaking of duels, if you want to see this in action and maybe some theme duels against like Blue Eyes or Red Eyes, let me know. Get it to a lot of likes, maybe 1,000 likes. Set a lofty goal here. And we'll try to do some theme duels with it as well. All right, it's going to be it. Hope you guys liked it. I'll catch you in the next one. Later.